Is Michigan a battleground state in your opinion?
Of course it is. Absolutely it is. It is, to my mind, imperative that Secretary Clinton win here in Michigan, win in Iowa, win in Wisconsin, because it's going to be a close election, and we cannot afford to lose any state, least of all the great state of Michigan.
And Michigan was one of your biggest victories
here.
It was.
And let me thank the people of Michigan for that. People did not think we could win here in Michigan, but we did.
And you still have so many supporters here. Obviously, they're packing the stadiums for you still. I guess, do you see when you talk to supporters here now that your campaign is over, do you see supporters who are hesitant to, or hard to convince maybe?
I think there are some. But I think most understand that Donald Trump would be a disaster for this country. And are going to do everything they can to make sure that Trump does not become president, and they're going to support Secretary Clinton. Some will not, but I think the vast majority will.
And, at all of your stops today, you've been giving a lot of reasons to support Clinton as well as reasons to vote against Trump. What, in your opinion, is the most important reason to support Clinton over Trump or a third-party candidate?
I think that we cannot go back to trickle-down economics. Trump wants to give many hundreds of billions of dollars in tax breaks to the richest people in this country, people like himself. What Trump showed us last week is that you can be a billionaire, you can own mansions all over the world, you can live in the lap of luxury, you can tout your wealth. That's what it does. Hey, I'm really rich, but you don't have to pay any taxes. I think that that is totally absurd. And Secretary Clinton believes that the wealthiest people in this country and the largest corporations should, in fact, pay their fair share of taxes. And the second issue that I've worked with Secretary Clinton on is the need to make public colleges and universities tuition-free. Too many of our kids, bright kids, qualified kids, are not going to college because they cannot afford it, and others are leaving school very deeply in debt, and that is pretty crazy. So she has a proposal which says that for families earning less than $125,000 a year, public colleges and universities will be tuition-free. And I think that's a pretty big deal.
During the primary and in your comments today, you've mentioned the Flint water crisis, and obviously that came up several times throughout your campaign. And what is your thoughts on how it's been, how politicians have gone about fixing the crisis? Do you think more needs to be done?
Of course it does. I mean, you understand that we had a civil war in the Congress in order to get money for Flint, that we had to take on the Republicans who did not want to support the funding of the needs of Flint. That has been won, and what we have got to do is move aggressively. It is, this is the United States of America, and in the year 2016, it's not a radical idea to say that when you turn on the faucet, the water you drink is clean. So we've got to move as aggressively as we can. It will require federal, state, and local cooperation, but that is what we've got to do.
You were very critical of Secretary Clinton on trade issues throughout the primary, and Donald Trump, since you endorsed Clinton, has been critical of you for supporting her in the wake of those issues. How do you reconcile, the primary?
Well, first of all, Mitt Romney, a guy who I don't often quote, referred to Trump as a fraud and a phony. And when you talk about trade, you're right. Trump is going around the country talking about these terrible trade agreements, and I, by the way, have voted against all of them. Mm-hmm. And yet here is a guy who has factories in Bangladesh where he's paying workers 30 cents an hour. He's making his clothing in China and in Mexico. He's making his furniture, I believe, in Turkey. So here's a guy who goes around saying, oh, I'm so upset about outsourcing, and yet he is an outsourcer. And this, I think, makes what Mitt Romney was saying to be true. This is a fraud and a phony. Now, what Clinton has said is that she is in opposition to the TPP and that she does not believe the Trans-Pacific Partnership should come up in the lame duck session. And she is absolutely right. And I'm going to work with her to make sure that we defeat the TPP.
Senator Sanders, it was great talking with you. Thanks for taking some time.
Nice to see you.